What happens when a private call to your grandmother in Mandarin triggers a billionaire's prejudice and you lose your job for it? Tara Bryant, a top server at Ember and Oak, answered a quick check-in with her abuela in Chinese, only to see the VIP investor's face twist in disgust. By the next morning, Tara was off the schedule, fired for speaking her own language. This isn't about a dress code or a missed step. It's about discrimination so subtle you almost don't see it until you're out of a job. Before you see how a billionaire's bias cost Tara her career and sparked a social media firestorm, smash that subscribe button and hit like. Drop equality in the comments if you believe no one should be punished for speaking their own language. Stick around because in just a few minutes, you'll witness how a few whispered Mandarin words ignited a fight for respect that went viral overnight. Tara Bryant wasn't just another server at Ember and Oak. She was the spine of this upscale fusion hotspot in the heart of Chicago. Picture a sleek dining room of polished oak tables and dark leather booths, each place setting arranged with geometric precision. The walls were warmed by amber lighting and dotted with abstract steel sculptures, while a curated playlist of low-pulse jazz murmured through the air. Ember and Oak charged $42 for Wagyu beef carpaccio and made you wait weeks for a Thursday night reservation. In this world, silence, professional smiles, and whispered elegance were the currency. For 4 years, Tara had mastered that currency. 5 days a week she arrived before sunrise, hair tucked into a no-nonsense bun, a crisp black shirt, and tailored apron, her armor. The regulars, tech moguls in custom watches, venture capital partners with sterling reputations, knew her by sight and name. They called her The Rock because nothing rattled her composure, spilled wine-broken glass, even belligerent drunks demanding off-menu specials. But outside these hushed halls, Tara was someone else entirely. At 28, she lived in a rent-controlled walk-up in Pilsen, sharing a tiny kitchen with potted succulents she named after her grandmother. She spent her evenings drafting half-finished poems on her laptop and cooking green onion pancakes, just like Abuela taught her in Shanghai. You could almost hear the sizzle of batter and the scent of sesame oil whenever she let her guard down, whispering Cantonese or Mandarin to the aunt who raised her after her parents died in that crash. This Saturday afternoon noon, rush just fading, Tara was stationed behind the bar, wiping down a spotless tray when her phone vibrated in her apron pocket. Popo, the caller ID, read. Her grandmother only rang in emergencies or birthdays. Stepping into the narrow service corridor between the espresso machine and the wine racks, Tara answered in perfect Mandarin, her tone soft and respectful. 30 seconds of hushed concern asking about medication mix-ups, reminding Popo to rest, and then she tucked the phone away and returned to the dining room. She had no idea that at table 5, seated in a velvet banquette, sat Evan Prescott, a billionaire investor who tipped 15%. He wasn't watching the kitchen theatrics or the new menu rollout. He was watching Tara's lips move in a language he couldn't understand. A flicker of disgust passed across his face, so fast you'd miss it if you blinked. He said nothing, but in this world of silent expectations, that expression spoke volumes. Back on the floor, Tara glided between tables, replenishing sparkling water, adjusting linen napkins, offering menu recommendations with her trademark calm. The restaurant hummed along its usual rhythm, hushed toasts, the clink of fine china, the discreet shuffle of servers. Yet beneath the surface, an undercurrent of tension had taken hold. It wasn't about a missed step or a spilled drink. Ember and Oak's entire reputation hinged on polished presentation and unspoken codes of conduct. Speaking one's heart language, especially a language associated with outsiders in a room that prized exclusivity, was deemed unprofessional. And the next morning, Tara's name vanished from the shift schedule as quickly as Prescott's whiskey neat. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Before dawn broke over the Chicago skyline and the first postmortems began, Tara was still just the server who spoke perfect Mandarin when she needed to, and who never thought that act of familial love would become a lightning rod for intolerance. In just a few moments, her carefully curated routine would shatter, revealing a fault line of prejudice hidden beneath Ember and Oak's gleaming veneer and setting off a fight for respect that would echo far beyond the oak-lined walls of this elite dining room. Tara glides from table to table as the lunch rush fades her black shirt and apron moving like a second skin. At precisely 2:30 p.m., her phone vibrates against her hip. Popo, the screen reads. She slips behind the service wall cramped space between the espresso machine and the wine racks and answers in fluent Mandarin voice low as she asks about her grandmother's blood pressure meds. The words flow soft and caring, no louder than a whisper. 30 seconds later, Tara hangs up, tucks her phone away, and returns to the dining room, unaware that at table 5, billionaire investor Evan Prescott has seen and heard everything. Evan sits alone in his velvet banquette, a neat Japanese whiskey, untouched before him. He isn't just any patron headlines call him Chicago's most influential tech backer, and tonight he's evaluating Ember & Oak's service as much as its scallops. As Tara approaches with a refill, he studies her profile, the arch of her neck, the calm precision of her movements, and then the way her lips curve around words he cannot understand. A flicker of something dark flashes across his face. Suspicion, disgust, something colder. He looks away, sets his glass down, and watches her leave with a slow, deliberate exhale. Tara doesn't notice the lingering gaze. She's focused water here, wiping crumbs there, a practiced smile greeting each guest. But her colleague Milo sees it. From his station at the bar, he watches Evan's eyes track her tension coiling in his jaw. Milo taps his cloth against the counter and shrugs at the bartender. Something's off, he mutters. That guy never looked at me like that when I spoke Tagalog. Across the room, the ambient clink of plates and low hum of conversation begin to lighten, yet an undercurrent of disquiet ripples through the staff. Tara senses the shift. When she approaches table 7 again, "Can I get you anything else, Mr. Prescott?" He doesn't respond immediately. His hand hovers over his phone, poised to type. Then, without looking up, he says coldly, "I didn't realize Ember & Oak employed spies." The words sting in the hushed luxury, and Tara freezes. "Excuse me." Her voice is calm but alert. She grips the tray in both hands. "That call you took back there," Prescott says, nodding toward the service corridor, speaking in Chinese. "Are we serving dim sum now?" His posture is relaxed, but his tone carries a sharpened edge, a test of boundaries. Tara's heart hammers. "That was my grandmother," she replies, voice steady. "It was a personal call." "Personal calls aren't part of your station," he counters, leaning back. "Maybe keep it to English." The dismissal hangs in the air like a dare. Milo's eyes flash concern from across the room. Tara bows her head slightly. "Of course," she says, soft yet unyielding. She turns replacement water still hovering on the tray and walks away without another word. The rest of the shift crawls by like wet concrete. Each time Tara passes Prescott's table, his gaze slices through her rougher than any spilled wine or broken plate. Kendra, the front-of-house manager, hovers nearby, her practiced smile taut eyes, darting between Tara and Prescott. She gives Tara a quick nod, half reassurance, half warning. Tara nods back, tight-lipped, and moves on. By closing time, the dining room has emptied, and the soft jazz fades out. Only Prescott remains finishing his whiskey in silence. When Tara brings his check, he slides it across the table without making eye contact. His last words as he pushes back from the table are low but clear across the gloss of hardwood. "I'll be watching tomorrow." The next morning, Tara arrives early for the breakfast shift, her footsteps echoing in the quiet dining room. The hostess book lies open at Kendra's station. She glances down, no name. Confusion pricks her. She steps forward. "Kendra, I'm on at 11, right?" The door to Kendra's office is ajar. Inside, Kendra sits behind her desk folder, open but papers blank as if she's been rehearsing lines. Tara knocks softly, then enters. "Kendra, is there a mistake? I don't see my name on the schedule." Kendra's eyes flick up tight with apology. "Sit down, Tara." Tara sinks into the guest chair, apron rustling. She folds her hands in her lap, back straight. "What's this about?" Kendra takes a breath. "We received a complaint from a VIP patron yesterday about unprofessional behavior." Tara blinks. Unprofessional, because I spoke Mandarin. Kendra hesitates. Her mouth twists. He felt uncomfortable hearing a language he didn't understand. He felt it disrupted the ambiance. Tara's chest tightens. She breathes out slowly. I was on my break. That call was 15 seconds. You know it was my grandmother. Kendra lowers her eyes, voice softening. I'm sorry, Tara. I tried to advocate for you, but Prescott as well. He's an important investor. And he has influence. Silence fills the room like a weight. Tara grips her purse strap. So I lose my job because he's scared of Mandarin. Kendra's lip quivers. She flips the folder closed with a sigh. I have to let you go. I'm so sorry. Tara stands calm but resolute. She reaches for the separation letter. Kendra slides across the desk. 5 years of loyalty reduced to a single sheet. Failure to uphold brand standards. She reads it, but sees only the room's shrinking walls. Kendra lifts her eyes full of regret she won't voice. Tara folds the letter neatly and tucks it into her apron. Thank you for telling me in person, she says, voice low. That matters more than you know. She turns and walks out, footsteps echoing down the hallway, the door clicking softly behind her. In the locker room, Milo waits, arms crossed. His face is hard protective. They really did it. Tara nods, apron in hand. Her voice is quiet but fierce. They did. Milo shakes his head. Let Prescott try outrunning this. People are tired of being told to be silent. Tara exhales against relief and burning indignation. I'll think about what to do next, she says, extending a small, weary smile. As she steps outside into the bright Chicago morning, the sun feels intrusive, too much light revealing too many truths. Tara slides into her car, closes the door with a soft thud, and sits in silence, the city noise only a distant hum. She pulls out her phone, types a quick message to her grandmother. I got fired today. I'll call you soon. Love you. Then she breathes deep, leaning back against the seat. The next move is hers, but first she needs to collect herself. Because what Prescott thought he erased with a single sentence, she'll reclaim with the power of her own voice. After the door clicked shut behind her, Tara sat in her car for a long, heavy minute. The Chicago sun felt intrusive, its glare a spotlight on her fury and humiliation. She'd always believed silence was her shield until it robbed her of everything she loved. Now, staring at the blank separation letter in her lap, she realized hiding her pain wouldn't help anyone. Her phone buzzed. It was Milo, just posted in the Service Workers of Chicago group. No names, just the facts. Tara tapped the notification. On her screen, Milo's words glowed like an ember. My colleague Tara Bryant was fired today from Ember and Oak after a VIP investor complained about her speaking Mandarin to her grandmother on a quick personal call. No other infractions. Discrimination, plain and simple. How many more of us will be forced into silence? Within minutes, the post exploded, hundreds of reactions, dozens of shares. Comments poured in. That is outrageous. This happened to my mom too. I'll never dine there again. Tara's chest tightened as she scrolled. Strangers were calling her brave, asking how they could help. A local organizer offered to connect her with an advocacy group. Journalists lurked in the replies. Something shifted inside her. This wasn't just about her job or her language, it was about every worker told to shrink themselves for the comfort of the powerful. She tapped Milo back. Let's go public. That evening, paper in hand, she drafted her own post. Short, direct, unembellished. My name is Tara Bryant. I was a server at Ember and Oak for 4 years. I was fired yesterday for speaking Mandarin during a private call with my grandmother. I was professional, on time, and never once had a guest complaint until someone heard a language they didn't understand. Discrimination hides in whispered assumptions. This ends now. Speak your truth. By the next morning, her post had 50,000 likes and 10,000 shares. National outlets picked up the story. A camera crew from the local news station called, asking for an interview. Tara's pulse raced, but she felt a steely calm. Her voice was no longer a whisper. Meanwhile, Ember and Oak's PR team scrambled. A terse, unsigned statement appeared on their website. We regret any misunderstanding. We value diversity and are reviewing our policies. It read like a half apology, but under mounting public pressure, they had to do more. Tara consulted with Sophia Chen, the advocacy lawyer introduced by Milo. Over coffee in a quiet Loop cafe, Sophia laid out the plan. 1. Demand a public apology on Ember and Oak's main social channels, acknowledging the wrongful termination and committing to anti-bias training. 2. Negotiate a severance package that includes full back pay for lost shifts and a fund to cover her upcoming culinary school tuition. 3. Host a panel discussion at a community center with Tara Milo and a civil rights advocate to shed light on the silent discrimination frontline workers face. 4. File an EEOC complaint if the restaurant refuses to comply within a week. Armed with this roadmap, Tara felt empowered. She sent an email to Jay Roth, the restaurant's legal counsel, CCing Ember and Oak's owner, demanding a meeting by Friday. By afternoon, Roth replied, "We are open to discussion." On Thursday, Tara arrived at the management suite, no apron, just a crisp blazer and the fury in her gaze. Across the table sat Roth and the COO, their faces drained. Behind them hovered the silent courtroom of public opinion news cameras, stationed in the hallway, live streaming every second. Tara opened her folder and laid out the evidence, the VIP complaint, the text exchange about her firing, screenshots of her viral post, and Sophia's bullet point demands. She spoke calmly, each word. Precise, I was loyal, discreet, and professional. Your investors' discomfort is not my burden. I want a public apology, compensation, and proof your team will be trained to respect every language. If I don't have it today, I will escalate to the EEOC and beyond. The executives exchanged glances. The room was thick with tension. Then the COO exhaled and reached for a prepared press release. We apologize to Ms. Bryant and the community. Discrimination of any kind is unacceptable at Ember and Oak. We commit to a comprehensive bias and language inclusion training program for all staff. Tara met his eyes. I expect that to go live in 1 hour. He nodded, defeated. That afternoon, the apology appeared on their social media, accompanied by behind-the-scenes footage of staff attending a mandatory workshop. Local food bloggers praised Tara's courage. Ember and Oak's reservations dipped, but the damage was done and deserved. By week's end, Tara had negotiated a generous severance, filming commitments for 2 news segments and speaking invitations at hospitality conferences. She used part of her settlement to enroll in that culinary program, sharing her story in each cohort, her voice now powerful, unmistakable. Tara Bryant's turning point came not when she was fired, but when she refused to stay silent. Her revenge wasn't about retaliation. It was about reclaiming dignity and forcing change. And in that choice, she ignited a movement reminding us all, silence protects the powerful, but speaking your truth can dismantle their prejudice. By midday on Friday, Ember and Oak's polished social platforms were ablaze with apologies, yet the real reckoning was unfolding behind closed doors. Here's how Tara Bryant's quiet retaliation became a full-scale reversal. First, the cafe outside the management suite was packed with reporters, their microphones trained on the frosted glass door. Tara arrived with her attorney, Sophia Chen, and Milo at her side. Cameras followed as she stepped inside. Outside, Ember and Oak's COO, Stephen Mallory, waited, face-drained shoulders, hunched under the glare of public scrutiny. Inside the conference room, Mallory rose to his feet. He opened with the same scripted regret readers had already seen online. We apologize for allowing discrimination to occur on our watch. His words drifted off as Tara placed her folder on the table, copies of her viral post, screenshots of the investor's complaint, and the signed petition from 5,000 hospitality workers demanding action. Mallory flinched as she spoke. Your apology went live 2 hours ago. Now I want the full details: who drafted the complaint, who authorized my firing, and when you'll begin chain-wide language inclusion training. He stammered, We're assembling a task force within 30 days. Tara held up a hand. No. Tomorrow morning, every single front-of-house employee must complete anti-bias training. and you will publish the instructor roster by end of day today." Mallory swallowed. "We'll comply." As she left the suite, cameras swarmed Tara Bryant secures instant reforms at Ember and Oak. The news cycle exploded. Culinary trade journals teased the Mandarin firing that shook Chicago, while union organizers praised her strategic evidence-based revolt. Meanwhile, social media execution was in full force. Tara's LinkedIn post sharing her experience and linking to not-for-profit language rights groups drew tens of thousands of new followers. Private messages poured in from servers, receptionists, and baristas who had faced similar silencing, now emboldened to share their truths. Several reported back to Tara that their own managers had quietly reached out, offering apologies and new HR hotlines. That evening, Tara co-hosted a live-streamed panel at the Chicago Worker Center, breaking the silence: language, labor, and respect. On stage with a civil rights attorney and a hospitality industry consultant, Tara laid out her roadmap. 1. Everyone has the right to speak their heritage language during breaks. 2. Employers must implement mandatory cultural sensitivity training. 3. Investors' influence ends where discrimination begins. Thousands tuned in the chat, scrolling with testimonials. "I was told not to speak Spanish at my law firm. They canceled my booking when I answered a call in Tagalog." By midnight, "Speak Your Truth" trended globally, drawing solidarity from Europe, Asia, and Latin America. Back at Ember and Oak, the fallout was immediate. 2 veteran servers resigned in protest when they discovered Prescott's anonymous report had cost Tara her job. The bartenders, once tight-lipped, began leaving shift notes calling for inclusive hospitality. Even Prescott himself, his reputation bruised after a viral tweet calling him a protocol bully, issued a public statement. "I regret my reaction and stand with those who enrich our city's culture. I pledge to fund language access scholarships in Tara's name." On Saturday, Tara walked into the restaurant, this time as a celebrated guest. The hostess bowed her head, then looked up with genuine warmth. "Welcome back, Ms. Bryant. Your table is ready." Servers lined the corridor and applauded as she passed. Mallory greeted her at the door, extended a formal invitation. "Chef wants you to taste his new fusion dish on the house." She smiled, nodded, then gently shook his hand. "Thank you. Just keep speaking truth and let everyone hear it." That evening, her viral story became case study material in a hospitality management course at DePaul University, where students debated power dynamics at the point of service. Copycat incidents at other high-end venues were reported and resolved before they exploded. By Sunday, Ember and Oak had not only published its training rollout schedule, but retained Tara as a cultural ambassador, contracting her to consult on staff diversity workshops. Her first assignment redesigned the employee handbook to include a language and culture section, guaranteeing break-time use of any heritage language. Through this precise, multi-front execution, viral posts, legal pressure panel discussions, consumer boycott threats, direct negotiations, Tara Bryant transformed a moment of silencing into a movement for linguistic justice. She didn't just reclaim her job, she forged a blueprint for hospitality equality that will echo far beyond Ember and Oak's oak-lined walls. The morning after Tara's showdown, Ember and Oak felt like a different world. At 7:45 a.m., servers lined up for their pre-shift briefing, only this time they stood taller. Claire, the hostess who once ducked her gaze, greeted Tara by name with a genuine smile. "Good morning, Ms. Bryant," she said, her voice steady. Around them, staff exchanged quiet nods of solidarity. In the cafe, the barista who used to smirk at Tara's hidden phone calls poured her extra-large latte with a respectful, "On the house, Ms. Bryant." A pair of bussers paused mid-clean to applaud her as she passed. Even the sous chef, once aloof, leaned out of the kitchen door to offer a thumbs up. These weren't scripted gestures, they were spontaneous acknowledgments of victory. Meanwhile, Ember and Oak's inbox exploded. Reservation managers scrambled to handle an influx of cancellations from patrons boycotting the restaurant's past intolerance, offset by new bookings from customers eager to support the inclusive policies now splashed across the website. By 9 a.m., their online waitlist had grown by 40%. Social media chatter shifted from outrage to praise. Hashtags like Yao Mandarin Matters and Speak Your Truth trended locally, drawing coverage from national news outlets. Tara checked her phone. Hundreds of text messages, DMs, and emails poured in. A food critic she'd once served reached out. "You showed me the real recipe for courage." A local council member sent a donation link for a language access scholarship fund in Tara's name. Even the billionaire investor Evan Prescott posted a short video. "I was wrong. My discomfort never justified discrimination." Tara Bryant taught me in Ember and Oak what respect really means. His apology clip drew thousands of comments, many calling it the PR moment of the year. By mid-afternoon, the Human Resources Department circulated an internal memo. Effective immediately, all front-of-house staff must complete mandatory language inclusion and bias training. We will post monthly updates on progress. Staff gathered around the digital bulletin board, reading lines of newly added policies, guaranteeing every employee's right to speak their heritage language on breaks and to be met with respect, not suspicion. Tara's inbox also held an invitation from a local civic group. Join us next week for a panel discussion on workplace discrimination and multiculturalism. She accepted, recognizing that her fight had struck a chord far beyond Ember and Oak's oak-paneled walls. That evening, as she stepped onto the restaurant's patio for a celebratory dinner, invited by a former co-worker turned friend, she paused and looked back through the sliding glass to the dining room. Servers moved with renewed purpose, greeting guests in Spanish, Polish, Arabic languages, once whispered behind closed doors, now spoken freely. It was a living testament to the change Tara had ignited. Her phone chimed one last time. A news alert from a national morning show headlined, "How One Server's Mandarin Call Shook Chicago's Fine Dining Scene." Tara smiled, feeling the weight of every message she'd sent and every policy she'd changed. In 48 hours, she had redefined the meaning of professional conduct, proving that a single voice raised in truth rather than apology can reshape an entire industry. The echoes of her victory would continue to reverberate, a reminder that respect is owed to every language and every life behind the apron. Let's break down why Tara's stand resonated and what we can all learn. 1. Prejudice hides in silence. Discrimination doesn't always wear a sign. In Tara's case, it showed up as a billionaire's flicker of disgust, a single moment when he couldn't label what he heard. When that prejudice goes unchecked, it becomes policy. A server fired for speaking her own language. Recognizing these hidden biases is the first step toward dismantling them. 2. Evidence and visibility are allies. Tara didn't rely on emotion alone. She documented every step: texts, viral posts, official responses, and made the evidence public. That transparency forced Ember and Oak to respond. When you face injustice, assembling clear, shareable proof multiplies your voice and compels accountability. 3. Calm authority outperforms anger. Throughout, Tara remained composed. She never yelled at Prescott or stormed the boardroom in rage. Instead, she moved with strategic precision, letting public pressure and legal roadmap do the heavy lifting. True power lies in restraint and focus. A calm demeanor amplifies credibility. 4. Structural change trumps Band-Aid apologies. A quick apology or private severance would have been hollow. Tara demanded and won mandatory language inclusion and bias training for every front-of-house staff member, published rosters, and clear policy guarantees. Systemic problems require systemic solutions, not temporary fixes. 5. Empathy underpins lasting reform. Even as she rallied support, Tara never abandoned her compassion. She remained the caring granddaughter checking on her abuela. By modeling empathy under fire, she showed that fighting discrimination isn't about vengeance. It's about building a more respectful community for everyone. When we shrink ourselves to fit someone else's comfort zone, we lose more than our voice, we lose our dignity. Tara Bryant's journey teaches us that speaking your truth backed by evidence and a clear plan can transform a single act of bias into a movement for equality. Remember, respect isn't optional, it's a right we all share. And that's how Tara Bryant transformed a single whispered Mandarin call into a catalyst for change, turning her moment of discrimination into a blueprint for workplace justice. Ember and Oak now stands as proof that respect for every language and every person isn't just good ethics, it's good business. If Tara's story moved, you hit that like button and share this video to spread the message that no one should be punished for speaking their truth. Drop "heard" in the comments to pledge you'll stand up when prejudice tries to silence someone. And be sure to subscribe and ring the bell, because next time we'll uncover how a delivery driver exposed a national chain's hidden wage theft with nothing but a receipt and a smartphone. You won't want to miss it.